The Denver Broncos are quietly turning heads around the NFL, and not just because of flashy headlines or viral clips. While others get distracted by meaningless debates and old draft replays, they're missing the real story. This season could be the end of an era, or the beginning of something even bigger. Defensive coordinator Vance Joseph is walking into what might be his final year in Denver, and it's all or nothing. If he turns this already elite unit into a number, one ranked defense, there's no question, he's gone. He'll be leading his own team as a head coach by next year. But if the defense slips even slightly, Sean Payton won't hesitate. He'll likely hand the keys to someone like Jim Leonhard, and Joseph's chapter in Denver will be over. In today's video, we're diving deep into what Vance Joseph has actually brought to this team. Not just in Denver, but in his time with Miami and Arizona too. He's made major franchise-shifting moves at every stop. And here in Denver, we've only seen the beginning of what he's capable of. Last year proved that. Yeah, we all remember that humiliating loss to Miami, that 70-point nightmare. But what happened after? That same defense rose from the ashes. They locked in, they fought hard, and by the end of the season, they were one of the toughest units in the league. They carried this team. Early on, while Bo Nix was adjusting to the NFL, it was that defense that kept hope alive. That gave us a chance. And that's exactly why other NFL teams were knocking on Vance Joseph's door last offseason, considering him for their head coaching vacancies. They saw what we see: a leader, a builder, a coach who knows how to create something elite. When the New York Jets came calling last offseason, Vance Joseph was firmly on their radar. They ultimately chose Aaron Glenn, the fiery defensive mind from Detroit. But make no mistake, Joseph's time is coming. Even Sean Payton said it himself. It's only a matter of time before Vance Joseph lands his next head coaching job. And that's not a bad thing. It's a reflection of just how valuable he is. He's not just an elite play caller, he's a leader of men. He builds connections, trust, and toughness on and off the field. And Payton made it clear, you should only worry when no one wants your coaches. When other teams want to poach your staff, it means you're doing something right. Success breeds success. And that's what Vance Joseph represents, the kind of excellence that draws attention across the league. Let's talk about what he's done here that puts him in that elite category. For starters, he helped lead the Broncos to something we hadn't seen in decades. Our first Defensive Player of the Year in what feels like forever. Patrick Surtain II was nothing short of dominant. He didn't just play at an elite level, he played at a historic one. In a league stacked with defensive talent like Myles Garrett and Trey Hendrickson, it was Surtain who stood tallest, and that's saying something. Think about all the legendary defenders who've worn orange and blue, Champ Bailey, Von Miller, and so many more. Denver has had elite defenses for years, but until now we never saw one of our own defensive backs walk away with that honor. The last corner to win it? Stephon Gilmore back in the 2010s. It's one of the toughest awards to win as a DB, and Surtain, under Joseph's leadership, made it happen. That's not a fluke. That's coaching. That's culture. That's Vance Joseph. What makes Patrick Surtain the second truly special isn't just his physical dominance, it's the way he credits his success. In nearly every interview, he points right back to Vance Joseph. That's respect. That's trust. That's what happens when a coach knows how to unlock a player's full potential. Joseph isn't just calling plays, he's crafting opportunities. He's a strategist. And one of the most telling things he's ever said is this: I'm not a 3-4 guy. I'm not a 4-3 guy. I'm a defensive coordinator. My job is to put players in position to succeed. That's the kind of mentality that separates good coaches from great ones. Too many defensive minds are married to their system. It's their way or nothing. Players have to fit into the scheme even if it's not built for them. Vance Joseph isn't one of those coaches. He adapts. He builds around his players' strengths. And that's what makes him so dangerous. He's a lot like Sean Payton in that sense. Payton has won games in every kind of way. Ground and pound, air raid, you name it. That kind of flexibility is rare. It's the sign of a true leader. And Joseph has that same gift. Just look at the transformation he led in Denver. Before Joseph returned, this defense was floundering. 27th in scoring defense, 29th in total yards allowed. That's near rock bottom. But by last year, we were third in scoring defense, better than the legendary no-fly zone. Let that sink in. Back when the no-fly zone was locking down the league, We allowed 18.3 points per game. Last season, we held teams to 18.8 points per game with a roster that had just one first-round pick on the entire defense. Just one, Patrick Surtain. Everything else, built through development, grit, and smart coaching. Vance Joseph didn't need a roster stacked with draft capital. He built something elite with what he had. That's not just coaching, that's culture building. When you take a defense ranked 28th in the league and in just a short time elevate it to one of the NFL's most feared units, that's not a coincidence. That's elite coaching. The roster didn't change much. The talent was always there, but it took someone like Vance Joseph to unlock it. That's the mark of a true difference maker. Even NFL stars outside of Denver are noticing. Micah Parsons, one of the most dominant defenders in the game, was asked point blank, who has the best defense in football right now? He didn't say the Cowboys. He said the Denver Broncos. And more than that, he said he'd love to play for Vance Joseph. That's respect. That's a reputation built on results, not hype. Just listen to Joseph's players. Nick Bonito has openly said he wouldn't want to play for anyone else. Zach Allen, who was once called Baby J.J. Watt, followed Joseph to Denver, even though he could have signed elsewhere for more money. Why? Because of the way Joseph runs his defense. Allen described it perfectly. It's fast, it's aggressive, and it's simple. Joseph doesn't bog his players down with overcomplicated schemes. He gives them a small number of calls and trains them to run those calls with perfection. For guys in the trenches, that matters. Allen said it best. As a defensive tackle, your job is to get in the backfield. Period. You're not reading. You're not hesitating. You're causing chaos. And that's exactly what this defense has done, with heart, hunger, and belief in their coordinator. Even former players like Budda Baker still rave about him. When Joseph coached him in Arizona, Budda wasn't just a good safety, he was a game wrecker. And Baker said it himself. I know Vance Joseph is going to be a head coach again soon. I'm just grateful I got to play under him as long as I did. Vance Joseph doesn't just build schemes, he builds loyalty. Players want to follow him. They want to win for him. That doesn't happen by accident. That's greatness. Vance Joseph's impact isn't just a Denver story. It's a pattern that's followed him everywhere he's coached. In Arizona, he inherited one of the worst defenses in football, bottom 4 in the league. But by his third year, that same defense had climbed into the top 10. They weren't just playing well, they were creating chaos. Under Joseph, the Cardinals finished first in fumble recoveries, third in rushing touchdowns allowed, and seventh in total takeaways. That's elite defensive production, built on coaching, not hype. And it wasn't a one-time thing. Go back to his time with the Miami Dolphins. In a playoff run under Adam Gase, Vance Joseph led a battered, injury-ridden Dolphins defense to some of the best situational football in the NFL. They were the 4th best third down defense, the down that decides games. They also ranked 6th in negative plays forced, despite using 13 different starting defensive lineups throughout the season due to injuries. That's unheard of, and the respect he earned from Adam Gase says it all. Gas once said, "I don't even think about the defense. That's Vance's job," and he handles it. That's the kind of trust coaches dream of, knowing your defense is in the hands of someone who will deliver results, no matter the circumstances. The players believe in him, the coaches respect him, and even NFL stars on rival teams can't help but notice. Travis Kelce, one of the most dominant players in the league, has praised Joseph publicly. That's not just lip service. That's admiration from someone who's gone to war against his defenses. Vance Joseph has done more than coach defenses. He's changed entire team identities. He's developed under-the-radar talent, inspired locker rooms, and brought structure where there was none. And if this truly is his final year in Denver, then let's cherish it. Because if history repeats itself, and it usually does with Vance, we might just be witnessing the rise of one of the most complete, feared defenses in the NFL. Even Travis Kelce, one of the league's most dangerous offensive weapons, couldn't help but give credit where it's due. He said it himself. I love the Denver Broncos' defense. That front 7 absolutely flies around. You never know where guys are coming from. That's fear, that's respect, and that's Vance Joseph's design. Kelce went a step further. He walked right up to Joseph after the game and said, "It's an honor going up against you. This is one of the biggest challenges in the entire league." Think about that. One of the smartest offensive minds in the game tipping his cap to the Broncos' defense. That tells you everything. Last season, Joseph's unit didn't just play well, they made franchise history. The Broncos broke their all-time single-season sack record, leading the entire league in sacks. In a city that's seen dominant defenses for decades, including Super Bowl champions, no group ever got to the quarterback more than the 2023 Vance Joseph led front. That's legendary. And with the front office doubling down on this defense, bringing in impact players like Malcolm Roach, Dre Greenlaw, and keeping Alex Singleton healthy and locked in, expectations are sky high. This defense isn't just built to compete, it's built to punish. And if Joseph delivers, as he's done time and time again, he'll be a head coach somewhere else very soon. That would trigger 2 compensatory draft picks for the Broncos under the Rooney Rule, a win for the franchise. But even more importantly, it would be a well-deserved reward for one of the sharpest minds in the game. And if that day comes, Jim Leonhard is waiting in the wings, a rising star, ready to continue the legacy. This team is built on fire, toughness, and belief. The Denver Broncos defense is no longer something teams overlook. It's something they fear, and we're only getting started.